NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. I'm your man Sim, hosting the show. Please, if you have not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe right now. Ring that notification bell so you'll be notified anytime I go live. And this is the New York Knicks season's grades. The Knicks season grades, part 2, brought to you by Flagship Resorts in Atlantic City. And that's where our draft party is going to be, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you're there. When that information comes out, make sure you're there. We're about to break down part 2 of these season grades. We got some fresh blood on the panel. Some people who were, at least one guy who was a little bit whiny, mad that he didn't get in yesterday and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, here we go, man. Let's get into it. We're going to break this thing down. Let me get Chris Paul off the screen. It's not supposed to be on the screen. So let me get that guy up out of there. And we'll get to the panel. While I'm getting Chris Paul off the screen, I'm going to start with Nate. Nate, what's popping with you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm on 2 hours of sleep, but only for you, Sam. We're gonna do this, so I'm ready. And after that, I'm knocking out. So let's go. Okay,
let's get it. G-Man, what's popping?
Hey, Sam. It's always a pleasure. First and foremost, thanks for having me on the panel. It's always a pleasure to chop it up with fellow Knicks fans, and I ain't gonna mess with you, Kev. Relax. But, I'm ready to get it started. Let's go ahead and review and give these guys, the credit they deserve.
No doubt. And Kev, what's up, man? Hawaiian Sophie Fame in the building. What's poppin' with you?
First off, it's Cornerstone Kev, a.k.a. Star Child.
Well, today you look like Hawaiian Sophie Fame.
Salute to the chat. Salute to my brothers here on the panel. It's great to be here and everything. All I will say was it was a quick morning. That's all I'll say. But I'm ready to get it on today.
All right.
And that's
Andy?
being honest.
Yo, what up?
What's going on, man?
Happy to be back. I had a short vacation from Saturday, so I'm back tonight, and I'm really happy that you're on, ready to chime in on the grades, on Kevin's dress, and the rest of the topics we're gonna hit up. So,
dress. Can you give a grade on the shirt?
What you say, Nate?
I think, can we give a grade on the shirt?
Yeah.
See,
I think we'll do that.
I told you.
That's a good idea.
He couldn't keep it up. I told you he couldn't stop. I told you.
That's a recommendation.
That's a good idea. We'll grade the shirt. In the chat, we'll let the chat grade your shirt. So everybody in the chat, right? And you don't have to do it right now. When we get to the end of the show, I'm going to ask you to give a grade for Hawaiian Sophie Fame shirt.
Why Sophie Fame? This is not
right?
good.
So, you can take your time.
This is not good.
This is not. You can take your time and think about it, and when we get to the end of the show,
this is not
give us a grade for the shirt.
He's got to read some of the best ones.
Give us a grade for the shirt. We'll give you some time to think about it, though. It don't have to be done right now.
This is not good. This is not good.
Damn, man. All right, so let's start with this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do this. Before we even get started, let's take a look at our grades for yesterday, just as a refresher. Remember, This is part 2, so we did the first part yesterday. We did the front office, we did the coaching staff, and we did the starting five that ended the season. Now we're going to get into the bench. And then we'll put it all together and come up with one big grade. Right? So let's take a look at what we did yesterday. So for the front office yesterday, we gave a collective grade of an A. For the coaching staff, we gave a collective grade of an A.
Why is that?
Because they did a good job. They did a really good job.
You can't ask questions about the grade.
Come on now.
Let him review.
I'm just asking y'all's opinion. That was all.
Because they did a good job. They did a very good job.
Okay.
All right.
Suspect in the playoffs, but okay.
They did not do well in the playoffs. It doesn't mean that the front office and coaching staff didn't do a good job. When this team, hold up.
Okay.
When this team was not expected to be there. So, yes, they did a very good job coaching this team. Tom Tippett on the coaching staff got every little bit of talent out of this team. And the front office, clearly, for the Knicks to have 41 wins, did a good job bringing in the coaching staff, Tom Thibodeau included. Did a good job finding small parts to come in and complement what we already had. Mm-hmm. They made the move for Derrick Rose. And while some people may say, well, they should have added more firepower at the deadline, in retrospect, when I look back, I say they did a good job sticking to their guns because there was nothing there that was going to turn them into long-term champions.
Right.
So they probably did a good job sticking to their guns, saying, let's rock with this, see what we have, and then build from there. That's why the front office and the coaching staff got an A. When you take a team that could not even make the bubble last year, and the bubble went down to what, the top 12 seeds in the conference? Did not make the bubble, and now they're the 4th seed. The front office and coaching staff both gets an A. As for the starting 5,
Can I just give a small opinion about the coaching staff? Because I agree with you totally about the management. I'm totally on board with you on that.
Well, let me finish with the starting 5, and then we'll get to it. Okay. Elfrid Payton, he got a C-. R.J. Barrett got a B. Reggie Bullock got a B. Julius Randle got an A-, and Nerlens Noel got a B+. So there you go. The front office got an A. The coaching staff got an A. Elfrid Payton, C-, R.J. Barrett, B. Reggie Bullock, B. Julius Randle, A-, and Nerlens Noel, a B+. All right, so that's what we did yesterday. And now we're going to go on and grade the rest of the bench. We're going to ask everybody for a quick, give us your grade and a reason why you gave that grade, and then we'll add that grade in, as we, we'll accumulate the grade and give an overall grade from, the group here, the panel. And we'll take into account, and we'll also take into account what the chat is saying. All right? So now, Kev, you had some questions or you had a comment about the front office.
No, I'm totally on board with y'all with the front office. You'll see no qualms from me about that. What I was talking about was the coaching staff. I feel as though that the coaching staff for the playoffs, I would have given them a B because I don't believe they used all of their resources. And even you would complain about them benching Elfrid Payton and everything. So that's why I was I was questioning why you would have given them an A and maybe not a B.
Because I'm looking at the season in its entirety, not just the playoffs. You got to look at the entire season when you're breaking this down and giving them a grade for the season. You're going to make mistakes. Even someone who gets an A on a test makes mistakes. Right?
They got an A+.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So you're going to make mistakes. But overall, I mean, come on.
It's just that I guess my problem is, and I'm sure with a lot of Knicks fans, is how a team could go from clicking on all cylinders to someone falling, flat in the first round of the playoffs.
Because the playoffs are a different beast, and it exposes your weaknesses. And you may not have the talent on your team to make up for those weaknesses. And if you don't have the talent on your team to make up for those weaknesses, there is nothing you can do. For example, if you have someone who can't grow hair, there's not much you can do besides wear a hat.
Wear a hat. Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right. I can roll with that. Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now,
okay.
Before we get into it, the only thing I do want to say is we have, a little bit something different that we're going to do with the players to get a cumulative score for the players. All right, as you can see, the players, they'll get a C, a B, a A, a D, whatever they get. So what we're doing is this. For the players to get one cumulative score, if that player has an A+, that means they're a 99. They have an A, they get a 95. If they have an A-, they get a 90. A B+, they get an 89. A B, they get an 85. A B-, they get 80. So on and so forth, from the C to the D to the F range. Right? This way we have some numbers to put to it, then we can average it out and give an overall grade for the players. All right? So hopefully you guys get that and understand that. And I'll be kind of, adding these scores up as we go. So when we get to the end, it's quick and it's easy to give everybody a grade.
Makes sense.
So there we go.
That's
all right. So let's start. We're going to start with Derrick Rose.
Ooh.
We're going to start with Derrick Rose. And let me remind everybody, Derrick Rose actually received votes to be MVP.
He did.
He did.
He did.
Yeah.
He received votes to be an MVP. I can't say me personally, I can't say enough about what Derrick Rose did for this team this season. I think that his experience, obviously his play on the basketball court, his ability to prepare, understanding and knowing what Coach Tibbs wants from his point guard. I think it made such a huge difference for this team and probably the reason why he received the vote to be an MVP. So I'm going to start with you, G-Man. What's your thoughts on Derrick Rose and what's your grade?
So first of all, I will stand by the take that Derrick Rose was the best acquisition that the New York Knicks made this season. That was an acquisition to where it didn't cost us a whole lot. And then the dividends on the return on our investment was way much more than we thought it could ever be, right? Although there were some glimpses of questionable actions based upon the amount of minutes that he was asked to play, the injuries that he went through, the whole COVID thing that he went through. There was some missteps and things that kind of set him back just a bit. But I think for the overarching involvement with Derrick Rose and the bench, if it wasn't for Derrick Rose, our bench would be something totally different. I don't think and we saw that in the playoffs. When you remove a Derrick Rose from that second squad, that's a whole different catalyst right there. He was instrumental in having that second group of players to come in and be that scoring juggernaut that we needed to carry us through. So having said all that, Derrick Rose, for me, he gets an A. Kev, you know what?
Okay.
I'm being nice. Derrick Rose, for me, gets an A.
Okay.
Look, Kev, so see how I wrapped all that up in a small bubble? Don't get long-winded. Don't go off the radar.
No, you didn't. You still went. You still.
He gets an A, Sam.
Okay, he gets an A. Cornerstone.
Oh, here we go. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Watch how many times Kev says Count them on your hands. Watch. Here we go. Go ahead, Kev. Go ahead. No pressure.
Derrick Rose was the epitome of a total professional, a total ball player that you need on your team. I enjoyed every bit of what I saw out of Derrick Rose, and I knew what we were getting once he was signed. Shoot.
Come on, just go ahead. Don't think about it, Kev. Don't think about it.
He really. It was night and day between him and Austin Rivers, because Austin Rivers was supposed to be what Derrick Rose was. And he really not only got his game off, but he was making sure that everybody else got their games off as well. And I'm sure that Quickley and Obi appreciated him greatly, and they can't wait for him to come back. And I unfortunately have to agree with Sargent about him coming off, being in the starting lineup with the in the playoffs. I think that was probably, looking back, was a missed opportunity by Tibbs. But it is what it is. We move on.
You agree?
And I'm going to give him an A.
Okay. And an A. All right. All right.
A plus.
A plus. Okay. All right.
plus.
I want to point something out to you guys. I just want to point something out to you. And this goes back to Derrick Rose in the playoffs becoming a starter. Okay? And Kev, I want you to, you can understand this. At this moment, this is the reason why I'm saying this right now, because Kev can understand this in this moment right now. He can understand it. When you are thinking on the basketball court, and when you take someone out of a lineup, or you're asked to do something new on the court, you start to think. And see, Kev was thinking really, really hard on how do I get this out without saying And because of that, he was going really, really slow. And it was very, very hard for him to get his thoughts together because he didn't want to say Now, when you have a player that all of a sudden has to change their position, for a little while, they're thinking on the basketball court. And so they're trying not to say
Yep.
And when they try not to say everything that they do is now a little bit slower.
Right.
Because they're thinking, they're not reacting.
That's right.
And that was my issue with taking Derrick Rose out of the second unit and putting him in the starting lineup and changing the lineup whatsoever. That was my issue. Because now you got a bunch of guys saying or trying not to say
That's right.
and figuring out how do I do this correctly instead of just playing basketball. You know, that was my reasoning for just keeping it the same. If you were going to do it, you should have done it a long time ago. Yep. That's why. But anyway, go ahead, Andy.
Well, for me, this is a really short answer. I'm giving him an A. I don't think it's even discussable, debatable, or however you want to call it. It would be an A plus if he would be available for every game that he was on the Knicks roster. That was the only thing, and it's not a hard knock on him. It happened. He didn't ask for getting, infected and stuff. I understand, but he was really, really, a positive, addition to this team. We can't judge him what he did off the court. I mean, in the practices, developing the young guys, and the rest of those things. But from what we were able to see on the court, I think he doesn't deserve anything less than an A.
Agreed.
You guys said it all. I don't even need to say anything else. I give him an A as well. He just came in and did everything that he needed to do and everything that Tom Thibodeau expected him to do. I just hope he's back next year.
Yeah, same.
I don't want the Knicks to play around with him. I want to bring him back next year. We'll see what the money is like. Now, I think we're all going to have to be patient because he may be the last person that they sign or something like that, or one of the last people, because I think they're going to try to fill out the rest of the roster and then say, hey, Derrick, we got this mid-level exception or something like that.
Right.
I do think that Derrick Rose wants to be back in New York. I don't think money is going to be the biggest problem for him, right? Because I just think for him it's peace of mind. He doesn't want to be too far away from Chicago, and if he's going to be far away from Chicago, he wants to be around people that he knows.
Right.
That's the way I see it. So I think he'll be back in New York. I hope he's back in New York. But anyway, Derrick Rose, ladies and gentlemen, gets an A from this panel. I think everyone in the chat would agree that Derrick Rose deserves an A for everything that he did for this basketball team this year. It would have been beautiful if we could have went farther in the playoffs, but you got to build from someplace.
Agreed.
And Sim, this might be the least debatable grade that we have to grade these players.
Yeah.
It's like you're going to have, pros and cons for the rest of the guys. I don't think you can say a bad word about D Rose.
Right. Yep. Exactly. So the next guy is Immanuel Quickley. Immanuel Quickley. I think it was a surprise to most of us this season. I don't think anybody expected him to come off the bench and be what he was for this team. I think we could have used him more in the playoffs. Tom Thibodeau didn't have that trust with him. Understood. But his ability to spread the floor, I know he takes some bad shots, but let me tell you something. If you don't like the shots that he takes, if we get Damian Lillard, you better get used to it. Because them joints is being launched. You better believe that. They're being launched. So you might as well get used to it. Maybe he's a primer, just to warm up the crowd, just to warm up the Knicks fans for a guy that's going to launch it from the logo, every 8th possession or something like that. Who knows? But G-Man, Immanuel Quickley.
So, Mr. IQ, right? I have to remind myself the IQ is a rookie, right? This is his first year on the NBA level squad. And he had to overcome a couple different obstacles. Number one, he had to win the favor of the coach to even be able to be allowed to be on the court and get minutes, right? Then after that, you have to get the okay from the coach to say, okay, well, once I come across half court, and if I'm open, I'm shooting the ball. Do I have the green light to shoot when I think that I'm open, even when I don't think that I'm open, or penetrate into the paint and give that little floater and pull that Trae Young thing to where I make people foul? I need that okay from the coach. So in order for him to go from rookie into the level that Tibbs said, okay, I'm going to give you the green light to do these things because I think these things could be a contribution to what we're trying to do on the court. Kudos as a rookie. So from that, I give Mr. IQ a B. He gets a B for me for that.
Okay.
And to your point, were there some questionable shots? Yeah. Were there some shots that he probably could have, found a better position to take? Yeah. But again, he's a rookie, ladies and gentlemen. He's a rookie. But hey, he gets a B from me all day long.
Yeah. Andy?
Well, I agree totally with what G-Man said. And just to add on that, on those, points, we saw a little bit of weak defense at the beginning of the season, but we also saw progress on that department towards the end of the season. He had, unstable games, I'm going to call it like that, because he had shooting nights of 1 for 7, 1 for 8, 1 from 9. But like G-Man said, he's a rookie, so we can't expect a rookie to come in and be shooting like 6 for 8 every game. So, and just to remind fans that I didn't see any one of us say his name on draft night. Any one of us, none.
Not one.
We called names from the guy that was chosen with the 35th pick. We never saw Immanuel Quickley on the Knicks draft board. So, let's call it like it is. It might have been the connection with Kenny Payne and the rest of the management and the guys, and it probably was. It even might have get him the minutes on the court to play with the Knicks at the beginning. But his game made him keep those minutes and get the opportunity to show his game. So I'm not going to be mad about that. No, I was hard on Quickley at the beginning of the season because I really hate players that have that kind of a shot selection. And, and he's not like in year 5 that we can expect him making those shots, right? It's like if you never saw a guy in the park and he comes in and takes those shots, you're going to be mad at him, right? And I was mad at Quickley like that. But when they started to fall, I became a little bit keener on it and accept it a little bit more. Then again, he had a game of 1 for 8, and I again was mad at him. But like G-Man said, he's a rookie. We can't expect stable game to game.
Right.
But I think I'm gonna give him a B, just to so he can see the improvement and the space to improve to get an A next season.
Yeah, I'm with you all the way. I give him a B as well. Obviously his ability to score shocked everybody. His ability to score. I do like the adjustments that we started to see him make during the end of the season. Less and less he was searching for the foul. And I could see him trying to pick his spots, right, to search for that foul. And a couple of times I've seen him try to knock down a pull-up when he was in the right spot. These are all things that he's going to have to learn and practice before it becomes habit. And you're seeing him try to facilitate a little bit more. So you're seeing him working. You're seeing him, trying to become what the coaching staff was asking him to be. And like Andy said, none of us had seen him on the board for the New York Knicks. And I think with this coaching staff, I'm sorry, not the coaching staff, with the front office, to me, it's another feather in their cap that coming into this season, they went with people that they were familiar with, from Obi to Quickley, to even Derrick Rose, because Tom Thibodeau and Taj Gibson, Tom Thibodeau is familiar with those guys because of the lack of ability to scout. With COVID-19, they said, let's go with what we know.
Yep.
And as things open up and we can scout and do those type of things, then we can go get who we think is the best talent. But right now, let's go with what we know. And I think it worked well for the Knicks. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out one more thing. I think Quickley, as a rookie, he basically didn't hit the rookie wall. I don't think you can point up, a spot in the season like, listen, he's in a slump. He has to get out of it. I think he was, unstable from basically the start to the end of the season. So, and that's really important because, sometimes when rookies hit the wall, they're stuck for at least, 5-10 games. And 10 games in a 72 game season, that's percentage, wise, that's a huge, part of the season. I think you can't, say that he hit the rookie wall. So that's a really important, factor as well for the grade, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Kev, I'm gonna come to you quick to get your grade. I thought maybe Kev's boss said, "Hey, I need you to change that shirt," but obviously they didn't. Obviously they didn't. They didn't. So, but Kev, Immanuel Quickley, you're great. Real quick.
A-. The reason why I say it is because no one expected him to have the success that he had this year. I love his fire. He's not afraid of the moment, and that's only going to get better for him. So I'm going to give him an A-.
Okay. I think, most of us gave him a B, so it probably averages out to be a B. 3 of us gave him a B, gave him an A-. No, not arguing or putting down your grade, just saying, for averaging purposes, I guess that may probably end up being about a B+. So I guess we can give him a B+.
Yeah,
I give him an A. I give him an A. All right, so then I want him in the A category. So I want to give him an A then.
Well, your grade is not going to get him in the A category.
No, it's not going to get him in the A category, man. So if you gave him an A-, just stick with the A-. See, this is the reason why only certain people can be on the panel, because you start shading it so you can get your person what you want instead of just taking the honest average. You know what I mean? We don't need no point shaving here.
See.
Now, you lucky. Now you have to be lucky that I'm on this panel and not Bubba, because Bubba will be arguing with you left and right.
I'm not worried about Big Bubba.
Okay, all right. I'm just saying.
Emmanuel Quickley gets a B+. It's a good grade. That's a good grade for Quick. That's a good grade for Emmanuel Quickley. Got a B+. He's got room to grow.
When to grow on.
I'm looking forward to what he can do with us in the future, assuming that he's here. Right? We don't know what's going to happen during the offseason.
Oh,
If the Knicks,
I already heard your take. You said if Dame is on the table, he's up out of it.
Hey,
I heard you yesterday.
Listen,
I'm just saying.
Stay focused. That's not what we're talking about.
I'm focused, but you heard what he said.
we're not talking about that,
He
bro.
opened it up. He opened it up.
Right now. Not what we're talking about.
Not what we're talking about. We are grading this current team, man. Come on, Kev.
Kev will come in your kitchen, right, while you are legit frying chicken and reach into the pot of hot grease, pull a chicken leg out, and try to eat it right on the spot.
Yeah, he will.
Focused, Kev.
Stay focused. Stay with it. Let's talk about Alec Burks. Alec Burks is next. Alec Burks is next.
I hate him.
G-Man, talk to me about Alec Burks. Because, Alec Burks was kind of up and down for the season for me, right? He came in the first few games and it was like, wow, this guy could be the third scorer. And then he got hurt. Then he didn't perform well. And then he came back and he was our fourth quarter guy. Then he went out with COVID. Came back, played okay, had a big game in game 1 of the playoffs, and then we didn't see him again in the playoffs. We seen him, but we didn't see him play well, or he didn't give us what we needed. Kind of up and down with Alec Burks. And Tony Crow pointed out something last night that I kind of agree with. He was saying that he felt like Alec Burks sometimes was maybe playing for a contract.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I was about to say. That's exactly what I was. And I agree 100% with that take, because first of all, you're talking about journeyman, right? So anytime you come into a 1-year deal, a prove-it deal, what do you need to do? You need to prove your value. Bottom line up front, whatever that looks like, and wherever I can get in and show you, I am worth the amount of money that you paid for me, but more so, I am worth someone else taking a stab at me based on what I can produce for you. Right. And I think that's what Alec Burks is. If you watch his style of play, I kind of got the feeling that although he was making those plays that put points on the board, or we got those baskets in a timely manner when we needed them, that was great. But what was the motivation for that? Whereas if you are truly a player on the team, on the floor, and you want the rest of your teammates involved, then you get them involved. That was not necessarily Alec Burks' gameplay, not even almost, when you watch him play. For Alec Burks, I'm going to give him a C-. I'm going to give him a C- because, first of all, he was very inconsistent. Based on what the thing that Sim just laid out right there, is, you did not show up when I needed for you to show up, right? And when you did show up, granted, you made some big shots. You were even talked about as being a closer for this team. That was a legit conversation that we had. Hey, is Alec Burks that guy that can come in and close for us?
Well, before the playoffs, he was. Before the playoffs, we were under the impression that he was.
Before the playoffs, he had glimpses of being that guy. Glimpses.
It got us 9 straight. It got us 9 straight.
It wasn't consistent. I'm looking for consistency. So let me ask you this question.
He was out for a portion. He was out for a portion of that 9 straight.
Yeah, that's right. You're totally right. Forget that. Okay, forget that thought. Forget that thought. Okay.
He was. So I give him a C-. Then.
Okay. All right. Kev, what do you give him?
Listen, I'm going to go another take. I can't overlook what he did, for the team, because a lot of the losses that we usually have, he was responsible for that we usually had in the past, turning the wins, and he was a part of that. So, and I liked him and everything. I'm going to give him a C+. I'm going to give him a C+. Sergeant gives a C-. I'm going to give him a C+, because I can't ignore what he did for us this year. Yeah, he probably was playing for a contract. I totally agree with Sergeant with that, but he still helped us get wins that I didn't think that we were going to get. So that's the reason why I'm going to give him a C+.
Okay. Andy?
I'm a little bit torn on Alec Burks because first thing first, he has a $6 million contract, a 1-year deal. Like everybody mentioned, he was a journeyman before, and he's going to be probably a journeyman through his whole career. So expectations of signing a guy for a 1-year deal, it's like, is he going to pan out or isn't he? Right? It was the same thing with Austin Rivers. We saw a good game, then we saw a few bad games, a good game, then 10 bad games, and then we traded him, right?
Yeah.
So basically, the addition of guys like that, you can expect consistency from those players. Then again, we saw probably a couple of games that he almost single-handedly got us a W.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he wasn't there and his 28, 26, 30 points, we wouldn't have those couple of wins more, which would probably get us a little bit lower in the Eastern Conference rankings, right? So I'm going to give him probably a C, but it's a solid C. I'm going to say it that way because the expectations of him before the season were really, we didn't know what he can bring to the team. We saw positives, we saw negatives. He was out, he was back in the rotation.
Yep.
So, he doesn't deserve a really like a D or whatever because he got us, promising things on the court.
Right.
No, you could point out the worst things that, he was basically playing for a contract. He was a little bit selfish for my taste of basketball game.
I agree with that too.
But then again, what can we expect from a guy like that, right? So and you could put blame a little bit on the front office because if they gave him, for example, a 3-year deal, then for a 3-year deal, that's $6 million a year. If he might be like getting more bought in to the system and stuff. But then again, he has to have that, next contract in his mind, because if not, he can, be signing with a team in China. And I don't think any NBA player that played in the NBA currently is thinking about, playing in the NBA or going to Europe or to China. I think that's not even a debate. They're just playing for their life. So
I can't wait for the episode where we say, should he stay or should he go? I can't wait for that episode.
Yeah, well, those episodes are coming up next. They're coming up next. Alec Burks, he gave us some games where he, helped us win, where he was the guy who really brought it home for us. There were games where he did that.
But there was some where you pulled your hair.
Yeah. I mean, or for me, there was some where he just, he didn't show up where I expected him to show up and was hoping he was going to show up, especially in the playoffs. After that first game, we really needed Alec Burks to come in and provide scoring, and he wasn't able to do it. With Julius Randle not giving what he needed, he just wasn't able to do it. I mean, I'm somewhere around a C+ for Alec Burks, and I think with all of our grades, it equals, about a 78.5. I just did the math, so about a C+ for Alec Burks. I guess it seems kind of fair.
Yep.
Right.
And it's him. Just to add on that, let's remember that Thibs used him in several different positions.
Yep.
As a playmaker, as a ball handler, as an off guard shooter. So we need to understand that he might have been the player that never knew what he's going to be, expected to ask for to do a certain game. So that's also a hard thing to play on.
Yeah. So. And it looks like the chat kind of agrees with us. In the chat, I see, I've seen a couple of B's. I see some C's, C-, C+. So, it seems like it's about right. C+ is about right for him. Obi Toppin is the next guy.
Woo!
Obi Toppin is the next guy. And just remember, ladies and gentlemen, as far as the scoring, when we average this out for everybody, you can see on the screen what the C+ or the C- or the C or B, whatever, the points that they get, right? For A+ is 99.
God.
An A is a 95, and A- is a 90. Alec Burks just got a C+, so he's got 79, right? And we'll take those numbers and we'll add them up, and then we'll have a total team score, right? F- is a 50.
Oh God.
Yeah, F- is 50 points.
I didn't know that could be.
All right. So just remember, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of this show, we are grading Cornerstone Kev's shirt at the end of the show.
Woo!
But anyway.
Boy, you know what? Between you and Uncle Freezy, man. Between you and Uncle Freezy.
Ooh.
Between you and Uncle Freezy.
I can't wait. Ooh.
You have a bad.
Let's Obi Toppin. I'm gonna start with you, G-Man. Obi Toppin.
Yeah, he's the president of the Obi fan club. So yeah,
I am, but what I'm about to do, Kev, right now is I'm about to demonstrate to you how I can separate my fandom from my objectivity.
Okay.
Watch to see how this happens. So I'm gonna need for you to have this same set of intestinal fortitude values when we start talking about Frank Ntilikina, the French Prince. So, but that's not what we're gonna do right now. What we're doing right now is we're talking about Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin, for all intents and purposes, when he was drafted, was meant to come in here and replace a Julius Randle. That's the reason that this organization drafted. The organization had no idea Julius Randle was going to become the player that he is today, which explains the amount of minutes that Obi has actually played. Now, early Obi, oh my God, that was a train wreck just watching it. And it was horrible to watch.
Let's be real.
But what happened in that evolution of his game, he became more confident. And in his confidence level, he began to produce in ways that the team or the scheme didn't really lend to. So now, think about this for a second, right? If you drive a high-powered sports car, top-end premium sports car, right? You get this thing out on the highway and it's meant to go fast. Mm-hmm. This car is meant to go from 0 to 60 in sub 3 seconds, right? That's what it's meant to do. But when you get it out there, you get in the right-hand lane and you're driving behind Miss Daisy. And your 0 to 60 seconds is like 2 minutes just to get it up there.
Like the way you drive, right? Like the way you drive, right?
Stop it. How productive is this car really going to be? So Obi, what he was actually able to do was in spite of what was going on with the team. Now, I say all that to say this. People, and I know that they're hanging and say, G-Man is about to give Obi this outlandish grade, right? No, I'm not. I'm a realist. I'm going to give Obi a C. I'm going to give Obi a C because Obi is a rookie, the rook from the brook. He, in my opinion, Obi overachieved. Well, I won't say that. He overachieved for my expectations. But people have a propensity to attach a level of performance to his age. If you follow Obi, Obi has always been a year behind for every step of his career. High school, it took him a year to progress. College, it took him a year to progress. This year is his progression year. So what I'm looking for Obi to do next year is going to be off the charts. But for me, Mr. Toppin, my guy, my dude, my ace, I'm going to have to give him a C.
Okay. Cornerstone.
Well, I'm gonna be a little bit more kind to Obi. What I saw out of him, and taking all the metrics, because we had the facts remain that he had no March Madness, he had no combine, he had no summer league, he barely had a training camp, and then he got hurt. So already he was like 5 spaces.
Power curve.
Yeah, behind the curve and everything. Yep. Now, I know people are going to say in the chat, well, Quickley didn't had that as well and everything. They'll say people develop differently.
I do.
What I like about Obi was that he did not waver from his work ethic. His confidence might have got shot a little bit, but again, that's where the presence of a Derrick Rose will help him through through that. And that's what Derrick Rose did. He helped him tremendously. And once he started, hitting a couple of shots and everything, his confidence was, starting to rise. And then you saw that towards the end of the season. And let's be real. He was the only bright spot in these playoffs that we had. He was the only bright spot. I just wish that Tibbs would have played him, a little bit more, but it is what it is. I think he's earned more playing time for next year. He's going to have a summer camp this year, summer league, and I think he's going to be quite dazzling. And he won't have to worry about anybody. He won't have to be looking over his shoulder, if management decides to, bring in, players that might replace him. He doesn't have to worry about that. So what I'm going to give him a B, because. Yeah, I'm going to give him a B because he really worked hard. Yes, there was that stretch where you thought, is he really NBA, material? And then all the whispers between Knicks fans and everything was about, he's a bust. We messed up again and everything. Didn't happen. It didn't happen. He turned it around, and I'm proud of him. And I can't wait to see what else he does. He's coming up and everything. So I'm going to give him a B.
Okay. All right. Andy?
Well, now see, Kevin put me in a really bad spot. Him giving Obi a B means I have to give him a D, and I wanted to give him a C minus, but I'm gonna have to give it, a D. No, but for real, like you guys already mentioned, that he was supposed to be that most NBA ready player pick. He was picked in the lottery. We expected more from him. Then again, like G-Man said, he really doesn't fit the basketball philosophy that Tibbs has. He's more of a fast-paced player, run and gun, jump high and whatever. Tibbs doesn't use that. He doesn't use Obi right on the offense. Then again, on defense, let's be true. Obi's a parking cone. He doesn't do anything on defense.
Well, now
I understand that he's a rookie.
I disagree with that because we did see some glimpses of him playing defensively, good defensively, especially in these playoffs.
Kev,
too.
Check how many blocks he had for the season. Two for a power forward. 2. Come on, man. So just to be true, I'm majorly disappointed. He looked like he started the season behind the rookie wall already. So it's really hard for me to judge him. Then again, we saw progress, and I think it's like G-Man said, probably in the next year or 2, he's gonna have that jump. He's gonna make that jump. But unless we tweak the offense a little bit for him, it's going to be really hard for him to average like 10 points unless he's going to get those offensive rebounds and putbacks. They're not going to be running plays for Obi unless we have a point guard like a CP3, a floor general, that's going to show him the routes and, going to have signs for him to jump for the alley-oop. But for real, I really can't, give him a better grade than a D or a D+. Because that would be hurting the rest of my grades for these C-level guys. For real, I was disappointed on Obi. So I can't judge him really, really that much. And Kevin gave him a B, just, made me give him a D. So Kev, that's on you, bro.
See, that's on you. For me, man, Obi is such a... There were certain things coming in that I kind of expected from Obi. Good and bad. Yeah. Right? Good and bad. The rap coming in is that Obi was ready for the NBA, the most ready player in the draft for the NBA. Right. I expected he can come in and give us 12 and 8. 12 points, 8 rebounds a game. But I also knew that there was going to be some hiccups with Obi because his footwork just wasn't there. Right. It just wasn't there. He kept his feet too close together, in my opinion. In college, he could power up over people because he was stronger, strong upper body. In the NBA, you needed to have your feet set correctly, the proper width apart. so that you can get as much strength from your lower body so that you can power through in the NBA. And I didn't think he was equipped to do that with his footwork. Kenny Payne, those guys, they worked with him religiously on that footwork. You've seen it from the beginning of the season. So I expected 12-8, but I also knew there were going to be some hiccups with him. He started off so bad, in my opinion. And maybe some of it was just him getting adjusted to the NBA, the speed of the NBA, the power of the players at the position at which he plays. And even if he had a 3-man on him or a small guard on him, those guards being able to use their upper body strength to guard him, even if he was in the post, might have surprised him. But he never stopped working. His spirits never got low. He was always he's just a happy kid. Right? Oh, just a happy kid. And, he never stopped working. He continued to try to figure out what he needed to do on the floor. He never hung his head. He would he'd make a mistake. Tom Thibodeau snatch him out the game. Of course, in that moment, he might drop his head a little bit. That's natural. That's going to happen. But it never affected the rest of the season. That game was gone.
Right.
And then you started to see him get better and better and better. And you started to see how there were times when he took Julius Randle out and the offense even looked better because of the way that Obi Toppin plays the basketball game.
Right.
And he started to get some confidence in that 3-point shot. So you could see the growth, and that was a good thing. I think for me, he started off at a D this season, and his growth, I raised him to a C for me. He's a C for me. He started off as a D with the way the season started, but for me now he's a D. He's a C. I'm sorry, and I'm expecting him to continue to get better. Obviously, there's going to be a point in time when he kind of levels off, and that's going to be sooner than later because of his age. But he still has some time. If Julius Randle is 26 years old and he can still get better, his version of getting better may not be physically. It's going to be mentally. Same thing can happen with Obi. Same thing can happen with Obi.
Yeah. I just saw a different Obi towards the end of the season and into the playoffs. I really did. I think he's starting to get it. And with this summer league that's coming up, I think it's just going to expand them more.
Yeah.
I really do.
So a lot of what we see with Obi is and again, most of my experience I equate to the military, right? So you take a private that you bring in from a civilian, and in those 8 weeks of training, I'm gonna teach you how to be a soldier. So after those 8 weeks, I'm gonna give you a year to 2 years into whatever job that you're in, and your maturation process is gonna happen. That's Obi. Like I said before, Obi has a trajectory that says it takes him a year, a complete year. No, turn your camera back on, Kev. You're not going to turn your camera off when I'm talking to you, doggone it. Turn your camera on. You hear me? Turn your camera on. No, but I'm saying with Obi, he has proven that it takes a year to get him to where he's level set to be able to make that progression, right? And for the, I guess, the pitfalls that he had to encounter here. First of all, you're in a system that does not, it's not favorable to the way your style of play. Let's say that. Mm-hmm. It's not favorable at all. Tibbs, when you come across half court, we want to slow the ball down. We want to work it through Julius Randle, and whatever Randle says is what we're going to do. Now, Obi and Randle are not on the court at the same time, but prior to having a Derrick Rose coming here, you don't have a point guard that's pushing that effort. So
you have to work, all right? It's not like on purpose.
Whatever. But you don't have someone that's facilitating the Obi style of play. But for him to be able to overcome that and still be productive, that's why I give him those high marks.
Exactly.
So regardless of what the situation is, he figured out how he could be the most productive for this team at that time. And that's why I'm a big Obi Toppin fan right now. And people, look, I'm going to tell you what. When people see this black book come out, These receipts right here, baby. I'm telling you right now, all y'all that talk junk about my man Obi, you're gonna hear from me next season. I'm just saying.
Oh, I was just doing it just to bust your chops. I mean, I believe in the kid. I was just doing that just to bust your chops.
So it sounds like G-Man, what, you gave him a C minus? Is that what it was?
I gave him a C.
You gave him a C. Kev gave him a B. Andy gave him a D. I gave him a C. So it sounds like he's got a C. All right. Which and when I followed the chat, and yes, Pudge Nice said he showed up in the playoffs. He did show up in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He showed up in the playoffs. He showed up in the playoffs.
He blocked Trey. He talked about one of those blocks. One of those blocks was on Trae Young.
He showed up in the playoffs. And maybe he's one of those players that respond better with the crowd.
I was thinking the same thing. Because, when he was in the Garden and he was catching them oops and he was a hype man on the court.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
So and maybe we'll see.
Made his mom cry and everything. Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That's an emotional moment. Big shout out to Kareem. He said, I agree, Sim. We have two mentally tough players in Obi and Quickley. We do. Very, very, two mentally tough players. And before we get to the last guy in this lineup of players, I just want to remind you, please subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel right now. Hit that like button for me, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we got 3 more players left. And then we're going to break down and give an overall grade for the team. Next is Mitchell Robinson. Of course, Mitchell Robinson had an up and down season. It's kind of hard to grade Mitchell Robinson this year because of the injuries. And one thing that people point to with Mitchell Robinson is that his numbers did not increase a heck of a lot. Right. And his blocks didn't increase. But you also have to look at the team is better. We played better defense. All right, so he may not have averaged 2.5 blocks a game, but he also didn't have to contest as many open layups because of the style of defense that we played, because we played a better defense. So I don't think that should be a shot against Mitchell Robinson. I think we realized in the playoffs how much we actually do miss Mitchell Robinson because of his ability to stretch the floor vertically. We miss that. His size, he's not extremely huge, right? But his length, shoulder width would have definitely helped against Clint Capella. So we definitely miss Mitchell Robinson in the playoffs, and I think it showed. But up and down, because of the injuries, just kind of up and down with Mitchell Robinson. Andy, I'll start with you, then we'll get around back up to G-Man. Your thoughts on Mitchell Robinson?
Yeah, it's because of the injuries, it's really hard to grade him because it's not like he developed much to the previous season. Then again, he didn't foul as much. And that's for him, that's also, a step forward. It's for me to grade him, it's really, 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 really hard. I don't think even I could put him a grade because if it's not the injuries, I'm giving him a B. But if you have to take the injuries in account, I don't think you can give him more than a C or even a C minus. He wasn't available when we needed him. He would probably twist the whole game around, and maybe even the whole season would be better if we had him in the lineup for defensive purposes. And I know that fans say, listen, we had one of the best defenses without him. I'm not, keen on that kind of words that I saw, fans say, listen, we were good on defense, so we didn't need Frank. Also, for me, you can't be, that great on defense that you don't need any more defensive players. And I understand the shortcomings on the offensive end, but also, I think he would propel in a system and with the lineups, having D Rose around, even having Quickley RJ had a great, alley-oop game with him, even in the previous season. So I think, I'm torn. If we have to, put the availability in account, then you got to give him a C-. If we can cut him a slack for the injuries, you can give him a B even.
So which one you going with, Andy? Andy's still not sure. Which one you going with, man? We need
that's why
one.
you should have came to me at the last, so I would wait it through. Okay, let's go with a C. It's gonna be straight up down the middle. So
okay, that sounds fair to me. G-Man.
So, Sam, I'm going to give you a grade that you don't have on your chart right now.
I know what he's going to do. I know he's going to do. I can't believe we're going to think alike. I cannot believe we're going to think alike. But go ahead. I'm
sorry that I'm going to have to do this, but I'm going to have to give Mitch an incomplete.
I told you. Yes.
It's simply because I can't grade someone based on him being out of the game for the majority.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't give him a grade for that. So the question, and I can see how we can ask. So your best ability is availability, right?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So what did Mitch do prior to the season to make himself available for the season? Obviously, it didn't work because he didn't play for the majority of the season.
No.
So we can speculate all day long about, and I hear these comments when we talk about playoffs. If Mitch was here, the game would have been different because X, Y, and Z. That's all hyperbole and speculation. Kev, later on, I'll text you to what that means so you don't have to rack your brain about it.
You know what?
Here we go.
I'm going to give you a haircut. Cut your beard.
But what I'm saying with Mitch is this, right? Mitch was not available when the team needed him.
Yep.
He was not. He was not a guy that Tip can go to the bench and say, Mitch, come on in. So what did he have to do? You got two players trying to make up for one. So you got Taj, that is the guy that's out here trying to get rebounds or whatever the case may be. And then you got Nerlens Noel out here that's a rim protector. He's trying to deny people coming into the basket. So depending on who's in and what the game plan is, if Mitchell Robinson is available, do we have to do that? I would say no. Again, this is all speculation. But I can't give Mitch a grade at this point because he just wasn't available. I can't.
He wasn't available.
He was not available for the season. So if I'm forced to give him a grade at this point right now, I'm gonna have to give him the lowest grade on the scale because he wasn't available to play the game. That's just me.
So then that's an F-.
That's right. And that's what I'm giving him because as a basketball player, right? As a professional basketball player, your job is to make sure that you're available to play the game, period. If nothing else, you have to be available. You have to show up to work.
But he did have freak accidents.
I don't care about accidents, Kev.
But he did have freak accidents. I mean, if he broke his wrist and then broke his foot.
No, you cannot put those stuff.
It's one thing to have that. I mean, he was in perfect shape.
No, he wasn't. Obviously, if he got a broke foot and a broke wrist, that's not perfect shape. Stop playing with me right now. Listen, I'm gonna tell you something right now. If I hire you to do a job, right? If I call Sim and say, Sim, I need you to go out here and build this house. That's what his resume said he's available to do. And then all of a sudden, in the first 2 to 3 weeks, Sim doesn't even show up at the job site. What is that about? What am I paying for? Mitchell Robinson is paid to be at the 5 position for this team, right? He's paid to be at the 5. And I understand injuries happen. I get it. But you got to prepare yourself. You can't just show up one morning and say, well, I haven't slept for 5 hours, and then I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna be on point with what I got going on. That's just me. I'm sorry.
It's a tough one. It's definitely a tough one with Mitch. Because, and the reason why, like when we talk about giving a player incomplete, like if you're in school and you get it incomplete, you probably get some extra time to complete that grade. Yes. Or some extra work to complete that grade. But this season is over and we move into next season. How can he complete this grade? He can't.
He can't.
You can't. So we got to give him, something.
Okay, so I'm gonna give him an F, Sam. I'm gonna give him an F simply because
Giving him an F, okay?
He was not available. And his F, I'm not talking about what he did on the court. When he was on the court, he did produce. But my thing is, he was not available when the team needed it.
And I think availability has to be accounted for, in my opinion. And I understand that, there could be freak accidents and things like that. But availability, in my opinion, has to be accounted for, because when you're a front office, you're going to look at it and say, is this guy available to us when we need him?
Right.
And they're going to factor that into the decision to give him a contract.
That's right. Absolutely.
So to me, you have to take availability into account. Cornerstone.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm doing this again, but I'm in agreement with Sargent. I got to give him an incomplete. I got to, and I'll be a little bit more kinder.
But we got to give him a score, because he can't complete it. So we got to give him a score.
I'll give him a D then. The reason why I give him a D is because he did play some games, and I don't know. I just feel bad for the kid, man, because those are accidents that that happened. I mean, he broke his wrist and then broke his foot soon as he got back. So that's got to say something. He was healthy and everything. So
when was he healthy if he got a broke foot?
But that wasn't his fault. That wasn't his fault. It was a freak accident.
So let me ask you this, Kev. Kristaps Porzingis. He's been just let me don't say no. Don't say no.
I can't with him, man.
But just listen to me. Just listen to me.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
He's been in and out, sometimes available, sometimes not available for the Dallas Mavericks. They're paying him $30 million a year. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Would you pay Kristaps Porzingis $30 million a year?
Hell no.
Why?
Because
answer me why. No other explanations. Just answer me why.
Because he has the tag of being injury prone.
Because he's injury prone. Right. Now, all of those injuries are freak accidents.
Yeah, but is Mitch injury prone? I mean, what happened his first year?
We don't know. His first year, he played 61 games.
His second year?
He played 66 games last year, but of course we only played about 66 games. He played 31 games this year.
So he was relatively healthy.
Last year,
too. Yeah,
61 games out of 82.
Well, 60. All right.
Stop it. Stop the madness.
What? No, I'm just saying, Sarge.
75% of the games or something like that. I don't know.
Look,
that's why I say you got to take into account his availability, whether or not it's a freak accident or not. You have some players who constantly get into freak accidents, and you have some players who seem to never get injured.
Will we say Anthony Davis is injury prone?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely he is. Yeah. He's not immune.
You've got to take that. You've got to take that into account, in my opinion.
So, Kev, I will offer this. Right here, right? If you know that you have a bone deficiency, let's say that's a problem, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna drink more milk. I'm gonna get in the weight room, and my conditioning is gonna lend to whatever that deficiency is, so it doesn't become an issue with me doing my job, right? So I don't think that has been addressed at this point. Maybe he doesn't know. Maybe he has the wrong people surround him. I don't know what that is.
I would agree with you on that. Having the wrong people, surround him and everything. How many agents has he been through?
And
let me respond to something in the chat though, because we got somebody who I think is taking this out of proportion. NY Knicks Jets says, dang, I guess Patrick Ewing got an F the season he took the Knicks to the playoffs and missed the playoffs. But see, what you answered that question in your question. He got the Knicks to the playoffs by playing during the regular season.
Right.
He got the Knicks there by playing during the regular season. So you answered your own question. No, he doesn't get it. He wouldn't have gotten an F for that season, but he wouldn't have gotten an A+.
No,
right?
he wouldn't.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you've got to take into account injuries. Right? If somebody is able to stay on the floor for you, that means something because they're there to contribute. If they're not able to, whether or not it's their fault, you know, you're going to say, a front office is going to say, I'm not going to pay this guy a lot of money because he's always injured.
Sam,
Well, and I think there's other things too to add to that, you know, but that's for another story and everything.
I would say this, Sam. I would say that, you know, people can take and you can pick and choose the players that you want to talk about, whatever situation they're in. And each position, based on who's on the team, is going to garner you a different result. So don't bring me these players that have been injured and then they come back and all of a sudden they're the savior or whatever the case may be. That's not what we're saying. What I'm saying, I'm not going to speak for anybody else on the panel. What I'm saying is this. If I hire you to do a job, right, and you are unable to fulfill your responsibility, am I still required to pay you?
No, of course not.
Well, it depends on how the contract's written. Let's be honest. It depends on how the contract's written, right? But at the same time,
but if you're hiring him, that's not a contract. You're just hiring him.
Well, there's some paperwork in there that you got to do. But my point is this. Do not get it twisted of what I'm saying about Mitchell Robinson, right? Don't get out of your feelings, first of all. Let's do that. Get out of your feelings. What I'm telling you is this. Mitchell Robinson is an employee of the New York Knicks. He was hired to play at the 5, right? So if you can't fulfill that obligation, then that's a problem for me. Because you are the guy that I hired to say, I need for you to go out and do this right here. And you said, okay, I'm willing to do that. So when you tell me that means that you're willing to do everything that comes along with that. That means that you are willing to condition your body, your mind, and your soul to go out and be the best person you can be at the 5. I'm not saying Mitchell Robinson did not do that. All I'm saying is for the majority of the season, it didn't happen.
Okay. Now, see, I obviously am looking at availability. But I'm also looking at the time that he was on the floor, how effective he was. And I think when he was there, he had some nights where he was ineffective. But when he was there, I think he was effective. And he made this team a lot different from his play. So I'm giving him a C. If it weren't for his injuries, I'd probably be giving him a B. I think, you know, when I just take his play in a cocoon and just look at his play in a cocoon, I mean, if he was here for us, I do think it would have changed the outlook of the playoffs. But he wasn't here, so, you know, I'm knocking it down an entire grade. Now, when you take what all of our grades and add it up, it turns out to be a D+. So we'll give him a D+. Mitch Robinson gets a D+, and some people will say, you should have given him incomplete. But there's no way that he can complete this. He can't complete it. All he can do is come back next season and start a new season. He can't complete it. So,
but you do want him back next season.
Yes.
You do want him back.
Yeah.
What about you, Sergeant? You do want him back, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
I want him
Absolutely.
back. D+ for Mitchell Robinson. He gets a D+. So far, that's the lowest grade on our board. Mitchell Robinson, D+. I mean, you got to be here.
I want to say this, Sam.
Got to be here.
For Knicks fans in the chat, right? For all y'all in the chat, that you're going to come from my head, you know what? I welcome the smoke. Bring it. But this is what I'm going to tell you. Before you come, do your homework, right? So don't be attached to a player. Understand what the player brings to the team. Understand what the role of that player is. And don't give me these hyperboles and these sound bites that you want to get your 5 minutes of fame, because guess what? I give it to you. I will give it to you. You know what I'm saying? Don't do. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So we got two more guys left. Two more guys left. And I don't have a lot of time, so I know these two guys could be controversial.
Oh, here we go.
They can be controversial.
Here we go.
All right. But let's I don't have a lot of time. I got to be to practice today, even though it's storming outside and all of that stuff. Kevin Knox is the next guy.
Oh, Kevin Knox.
Let's talk about Kevin Knox. All right, but remember, we got to make these quick.
Quick. Okay.
We got to make them quick. Kevin Knox, we got Kevin Knox and Frank Ntilikina left. This is who we're doing. The other guys, they didn't really get on the court. Theo Pinson, I'm giving him an A just because he was the cheerleader. So there you go. Theo Pinson gets an A. Nobody else was really out there to perform for us. Kevin Knox, though. Kev, I'll start with you since you got the same name.
Oh, thank you. I said again. I want to give him another incomplete.
But Kev, listen. You weren't here for the analogy that I gave earlier.
What analogy?
So you're gonna have to go back and listen to it. When you were trying not to say you were talking very slow. You couldn't get through your thoughts. You couldn't get out to say what you wanted to say. So that's all I'm going to say to you. And I want you to go back and look at the video and check out the analogy, and then you can text me later. But go ahead. Finish saying what you were saying.
I hate all three. Right? I said that completely. I hate all three. I want to give him an incomplete because Tibbs did not use him like we thought that he would. He talked about him coming in great shape. Whose fault was that? That's kind of his fault. It's kind of his fault. But to use an analogy like Sargent said to me when we had our talks, he has to be rebuilt. He literally has to be rebuilt. And I think that's going to happen for this summer and for the upcoming season. He has to be rebuilt. I'm not going to give up on the kid, but since we can't give incompletes, I have to give him a D+ as well, because he did get into some games and then it just stopped. So that's it.
All right. D+. Andy?
F.
I'm going to make it short because, I want to have more words to use on the Frank topic. So I'm going to go with a straight up D for Kevin Knox.
Oh, okay. Went D.
Okay. All right. And G-Man?
I'm going to have to agree with Andy. I'm going to have to give Knox a D just because there were some semblance of him being able to produce during the game, but it just wasn't consistent enough. And I don't know if it was because of the way that he was coached up. I essentially think that the team put Knox in a red shirt type situation to where they wanted to deprogram him.
That was the word you used.
And get him back to playing productive basketball. But based on this season and what I've seen, I got to give him a D.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm giving him a D. I wanted to give him a D+, so I'm going to give him a D+. Only because he shot well from the three-point line.
He did.
But I expected that this was going to be a year that Kevin Knox was going to take a step forward. With Tom Thibodeau there, with Kenny Payne there, I thought he'd take a step forward, and he didn't. For whatever reasons that Tom Thibodeau didn't want to use him, Kevin Knox didn't step up to the bat, step up to the plate to meet those expectations. And for me, people can say, well, he didn't use him right or whatever you want to say. To me, when you're a player and if a coach gives you a role, you got to excel in that role.
Exactly.
And he didn't excel in his role. Early in the season, it looked like he was going to.
Yeah.
He was playing better defense. He was knocking down the three. But I guess there were just too many lapses, maybe on the defensive side, and too many little things that he wasn't doing that Tom Thibodeau wanted him to do. So he couldn't get on the floor, couldn't crack the rotation, couldn't get on the floor.
But you know what else, Sim? That was worse on his detriment was that he was being taken out too quickly once he made a mistake. I mean, everybody else has the chance to play through their mistakes. He wasn't really given that, that chance to play.
Because
I'm talking about Knox.
Because Kev, your production, when you talk about production, the positive production has to outweigh the negative production.
Right.
The positive that you bring to the game has to outweigh the negative. So a coach can withstand you making mistakes as long as your positive production is more than your negative production.
Okay.
If your negative production is more than your positive production, then you're not going to see the floor. Or even if it's even, but somebody else does something better,
You don't get the hook.
you're coming out.
You don't get the hook.
So there it is, Kevin Knox, a D. So now let's get to the fireworks.
Oh, here we go.
That works.
Because you know it's coming. You know it's coming. You already know it's coming. We'll get to the fireworks. Frank Ntilikina.
Oh, oh, oh.
And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Knox, I like Kevin Knox. I am a big Kevin Knox supporter. I want to see him do well. I think he has talent. I think he has talent. I want to see him do well. And I'm also a big Frank Ntilikina supporter. I want to see Frank Ntilikina do well. I like what Frank Ntilikina brings to the basketball game.
I'm a little surprised at that, but okay.
You're surprised because because I agree with Tom Thibodeau that maybe he didn't have to be on the floor. That doesn't mean I don't think the guy has potential to do something.
Yeah, you.
or if I don't think he's gonna lock down every single point guard, that doesn't mean I don't like him.
He's got to get the opportunity too.
I like him. I have rookie cards. I have his jersey. I'm a big Frank Ntilikina fan.
Give me his jersey.
No,
because they ain't doing nothing for you. Give me his jersey.
But I try to be objective. But I'm gonna start with Andy.
Yeah, start with Andy. Because he has more facts, than what I have.
Well, first of all, you all know that I'm a huge Frank supporter. But that's for a reason. My basketball philosophy and team building requires a guy like Frank. I believe that players like him fit basically every lineup because you can use him as just a corner shooter. I'm not saying that he's going to be a playmaker, but we saw the ability for him to handle the ball, not top of the league, but maybe he can handle the ball on the NBA level. Is he gonna be without a mistake, without blame? No, none of the players on the NBA rosters don't have situations where you can put a finger on him and say that he made a mistake. Then again, if you analyze and look at his defense, it's really good. Even if he's not guarding the guy one-on-one, his positioning on defense makes the whole team defense look better. And, things that he gets and brings on defense, it's really unmeasurable. He, locks down the passing lanes and all of that stuff. On offense, we all saw that Thibs used him as just running to the corner and just stay there. If you're going to get the ball, you decide if you want to take the shot or pass the ball up. That's why he has a great 3-point shooting percentage for the whole season. He was the best on the Knicks roster. And people are going to say because he took not so many shots. That is his shot selection. If he would be taking the amount of shots that Quickley took, it would probably be worse, right? But he didn't take those bad shots. Right. So, for me, that's really important. And I value his kind of gameplay if I would be, creating a team and getting those lineups, up. Just to add, him and Knox, not only from the general manager's standpoint, the brass standpoint, but also from the coaching standpoint, probably, those guys are side projects. For me, you can argument it however you want. Both Obi and Immanuel Quickley got minutes over those guys. And I don't think it's purely because they got better skills. I don't believe in that 100%. Maybe. But we saw Obi. We had a show and we had a topic that Obi getting minutes on the court is hurting him more than him being on the bench. And we still didn't see Knox on the court, and we still didn't see Frank in those games on the court.
Sure didn't.
That has to tell you something. And I'm not saying that, it's all on the coaching staff and all on the brass, but it definitely has something on that. And, like I said, you can argument it however you want it. I'm not going to believe that it's purely about the skill set. I just feel that Leon Rose made, Obi being played and even Quickley getting minutes on the court because those were his picks. Meanwhile, Frank has a ending contract, and probably if they had a good deal, they would probably trade him. Then again, looking at Thibs' philosophy and his whole career, he prefers vets over young guys. Reggie Bullock has basically the same skill set Frank does, and Reggie had major minutes. He was basically in the starting lineup through the whole season. And he had bad games as well. And I wasn't calling for Frank to replace him in the starting lineup because I understand that it's not like, okay, he had a bad game or two, we're going to replace him and sit him on the bench.
Uh-huh.
But, it's, for me, like I just said, maybe it's only my basketball philosophy, but I believe that you could really use Frank
I'm with you.
in other positions. And I'm not saying all on the point guard spot, on the shooting guard. He's really a multi-tool that you could plug him in any basically position and use him at least. He didn't get the chance.
Nope, sure
for
didn't.
me.
Okay,
So,
I agree with you. I agree with you.
And Sim,
I like
I'm not
Frank.
giving him an A.
You,
just to be clear, I'm not giving him an A. I'm giving him a C.
Mm-hmm.
But because I think that he didn't get the amount of chances that he basically deserved. If he would be shooting 20%, I would understood. But he was our best shooter, and that was not only because of the shot, but also the shot selection. And we gave opportunities to guys that were shooting 20% for a couple of games in a row.
Okay.
And we didn't adjust even a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Sure did.
All right. Let me give a shout out to Kareem. He said, Andy,
shout out Kareem too.
Yeah, he said, Andy, let it go, bro. Frank was never getting any burn. Then he said, Andy is Frank's publicist.
Well, if he's his publicist, then I'm his secretary because I totally agree with everything that Andy says. I mean,
you're definitely not his fashion designer, but anyway.
Yeah, his fashion is fly. His fashion is fly.
That's why I said you're not his fashion designer.
I picked out one thing for him. He said, "No, Cal, I'm gonna go with this right here." So there you go.
Smart. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with can I go or?
Yeah, go ahead. You just broke down the door, so go ahead.
Yeah. No, I mean let's look at the optics right here. He was drafted, and people will say that we should have picked Donovan Mitchell, or DSJ, or the guy Monk from Charlotte, but we got him, and for the little time that he was playing. He was doing good with KP and the rest of them. The next year, Fizdale comes in and just totally, messes with his confidence. Mm-hmm. And while we're doing that, we also get another the president that drafted him gets fired, and we're dealing with Steve Mills. And then Steve Mills brings in these other point guards, Moutier, Trey Burke, and the list goes on, but never him. They never say, you know what? Let's put the ball in Ntilikina's hands.
Who's the coach?
It doesn't happen. Say again.
Well, I don't think the ball should have been in his hands, but go ahead.
Well, you had Horacek doing it, and then you had Fizdale doing it, and then finally, you have Miller, who gives him more run than he gives Peyton and everything. And then the season gets cut off. There's no telling what Frank could have been if the season could have kept going. And then this year with Tibbs, you already knew from the back when people were asking him, when media was asking questions about Frank and DSJ, he had nothing to say. He didn't have a thing to say about these guys.
Actually, he did. What did he say? He said he likes Frank's defense. He likes his versatility. He likes his ability to play defense on multiple positions, and he's coming along offensively.
But that was it.
What did you want him to say?
What did you want him to say?
What did you want him to
It
say?
didn't seem like he had. Come on,
But
guys.
what did you want him to say? I'm asking you. What did you want him to say? Did you want him to say? What did you want him to say?
I wanted him to say that he was going to be our starter. I wanted him to say that. But no, we took Peyton, and then they brought in Austin Rivers. How did those things work out?
We were 41-31. That's how it worked out.
Yeah. So and that's what I'm talking about. And messing with his mind. That's what I'm talking about. Was messing with his mind.
What do you mean? And we were 40. How did it work out? We were 41-31.
And then the icing on the cake. He said she's going to use it for situational circumstances. There's going to be situational circumstances. Come on, man. Come on, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really?
So what's your grade for Frank? What is your grade for Frank?
I'm with Andy. I'm giving him a C because, I mean, really, I would give him an incomplete. I would give him an incomplete as well because he hardly got any run. And then he puts him in against Trae Young towards the end of the game.
That was a bad decision.
Set up to lose.
That was a bad decision. That was a bad decision.
Should have had him in before. If he was talking about situational, how much situational could you have gotten with playing Trae Young?
Kev.
I'm just saying. I'm just keeping that real. I've never been more real before than I am right now.
Listen,
That's real.
The realest thing you ever wrote.
I'm gonna need you to calm down for about 2 seconds because
shut up, Dracula. No, Blackula. I'm sorry, Blackula.
The blood vessels are popping out your neck right now.
All right, Blackula. All right, Blackula.
Bring it down to that level.
Because it's the
right
realest thing he ever wrote.
That's what he said. That's what he look. I'm gonna need you to go back and rewatch this episode right here. I'm gonna need record.
I didn't have no ums in that one.
You did.
He
sure did not. He did not.
I had no M's of that. I had no M's of that. And I'm mad at myself. I'm mad at myself because I crapped on the dude talking about I was done with him. And Andy didn't let me forget that.
Look.
Andy didn't make me forget that. Yes. Yeah, you got the receipt.
I do.
But then the next day, I apologize.
So you give him a C. You give him a C. You're giving him a C. See, this is why we had to,
I understand.
we're doing
I'm
Frank
done.
last. We're giving him a C.
Done.
All right.
I'm done.
Go ahead, G-Man.
We already knew what this was going to be when Cornerstone on the panel, we start talking about Frank. We knew what was going to happen. And I'm gonna tailor these comments right here, and I'm going to make it real quick. So for Frank, I think for me, Frank gets a D. And this is why. It's don't be sucking your teeth and holding your breath, Kev. Listen to what I'm about to say. It is part of Frank's fault because I'm guessing whatever that he needed to produce in shoot-arounds or practice that would get him on the court, right? So obviously that didn't happen. And Tibbs chose to play him in certain situations. Whether or not those situations were productive or not, I don't know. So it just depends on when Frank can get on the court. I don't think that's not representative of his total body of work. I think given the opportunity, he may be able to produce a little bit more than what we saw in his body of work. But he didn't get the playoff time. I mean, not playoff time. He didn't get the playing time on the court at that particular point. So for that, based on what I saw in his body of work, for me, Frank gets a D.
And everybody in the chat trying to go off and everything, y'all can kick rocks, all right? Because y'all know I'm the Frank Ntilikina Hive, all right? I am the Frank Ntilikina Hive. I don't care what any of y'all say.
All right.
That's why I'm hoping that if he gets traded or whatever or let go and goes to another team, I hope he comes back and just beats the hell out of everybody that he plays defense against.
What? Tell us how you really feel, Kev. Oh, my God. Look at it. This is what happened when you put them flashy shirts on. This is what happened right there.
All right. So, look, I am going to look at Frank in a vacuum without the playing time. And, his defense is always there.
Okay.
We know that. His defense is always there. And I think he improved his three-point shot greatly. Right? Shot 48%. And I know it was unlimited shots. In my mind, if he would have taken more shots, I think he took about 53-point shots this year. If he would have taken more, he probably would have ended up shooting between 38 and 41%. Somewhere around there. Right? To me, that's a big jump. That's a lot of improvement in my opinion, for a player, although he didn't get the playing time. And obviously there are reasons that he didn't get the playing time. Whatever those reasons are, that Tom Thibodeau didn't put him in the game, I don't know. That's up to Tom Thibodeau. I don't know. I can't explain that. But I do know he improved his three-point shot. There were a few games where he had a chance to start and he didn't play well. Okay? Now, could you have said, I'm going to go with this a little bit longer to see if he gets used to the system, to see if he gets, used to being the starter or whatever it is? Of course you could have. He tried it. It didn't work out. Tom Thibodeau gave it a quick hook. Nothing we can do about that. But just looking at Frank and the improvement that he made just from the three-point shooting alone, I'm giving him a C. Just looking at that I'm giving him a C. More minutes, more time on the floor, you could get a better idea of what he was able to do. I actually think he's going to be back. I know there's people that disagree with me. I think he's going to be back. I think when the Knicks look to make whatever moves that they're going to make, Frank Ntilikina is going to be a cheap option that can come in and play defense and knock down a three. And that's what you're going to need if you're going to try to build this team out with, high-level players. You're going to need cheap options that can come in, play defense, knock down a three, and maybe play a couple of different positions. Frank Ntilikina, I think, will be on this team next year.
And then I'm going to repeat you the theory that I had, that they didn't play him just to lower his value.
He did, right. Just to keep his value low. Hey, we're going to need Frank next year. We're going to let Reggie go, so don't play him. Anyway, looking at that, his cumulative score is hold up, wait a minute. Let me I made a mistake. Made a mistake.
You're allowed.
Made a mistake. And his cumulative score is a C. It's 72.5. So I guess that's in between a C and a C minus. So what are we giving him?
I give him the benefit of the doubt. I give him a C.
We'll give him a C. Give him the benefit of the doubt. We'll give him a C.
Yeah, if you don't want my Raph, you give him a C.
We don't care nothing about your Raph. I need you to change that shirt.
So there you go. Frank Ntilikina, Kevin Knox. Kevin Knox got a D. Frank Ntilikina got a C. And when you add up the entire group,
Tim, did we do Taj?
Oh, we didn't do Taj Gibson. I knew I was missing somebody.
Yeah.
Let's do Taj Gibson. See that? I was missing somebody, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about Taj Gibson real quick, and then we can get on and grade the rest of and give a grade for everybody. I'm going to get Taj Gibson up here.
You 45? You 45?
I'm 45 years old.
Yeah, okay. Well, if you was sergeant's age, I would have had a problem, with that, with you forgetting Taj. But it's all right. It's all right. You still got another few years, man.
Okay.
Another few years.
All right. Well, it happens sometimes, man. It happens sometimes. All right. Taj Gibson. I knew I was forgetting somebody, and I kept thinking, I'm forgetting somebody. Who am I forgetting? And I couldn't figure it out. We figured it out. Thank you, Andy. Taj Gibson, let's start with you, Andy, since you figured it out for me.
Yeah. Well, Sim, I think I'm going to have to give him a B, even a B+, because that man is running on his last legs.
Yes, sir.
When he looks like a vet from the Vietnamese War, bro. And he's running for us for the minimum wage possible. So how could we ask for someone else, for more things from Taj, right? So funny. And I remember a show we were talking about before the season that they should bring Taj back. They did it mid-season. I'm happy that he got, to the team and got burned. He definitely helped us with Mitch being injured. And, him knowing Tibbs' system, knowing D Rose made him probably more accustomed to the team. I think a B is the least we could give him, if not even an A, because he was probably the best vet on the team and stuff like that. So a B+, A- is my grade.
Yeah. G-Man?
So, Kev, I'm gonna give you an out, right? So what I'm about to say right now is going to allow you to say whatever outlandish comments you got to say after following me that you could go ahead and say, and it won't be that big on the radar, right? So what I would say is this: for me, Taj gets an A, and I'm gonna tell you why Taj gets an A. Taj brings that thing that you just can't put your finger on. You know what I'm saying? When you're surrounded by people that just gives you that positive energy to make you go out and do things that are outside of your normal character. But because you're around that person, it gives you that energy. And for me, that's Taj Gibson, right? Mm-hmm. He is the official coach on the floor. D Rose brings experience and he can get you in the right places to make plays. But Taj Gibson is that dude that's going to pull you aside and say, listen, you did this. I watched you do that. That's the wrong play to make. I need you to do this next time.
He's that guy. He's that guy.
He is that dude. So for me, for that, Taj Gibson gets an A all day long.
Okay. All right. I mean, I'm going to say mine quick. I'm giving Taj Gibson an A as well. Just, his ability to come in and battle, provide, do all the little things that he did, keep himself in shape, be available to play for us. It was just invaluable in the knowledge that he was able to bring to the game to help guys out. You heard, I think, Quickley or whoever, maybe even Obi, talking about how Taj Gibson was always in practice, yelling at players, motivating guys, pushing them along. To me, I'm giving him an A. Real quick, Kev, what are you giving Taj?
I'm giving him an A as well. I agree with everything that Sarge said, that Andy said. His professionalism, his enthusiasm, everything, and then some that we've seen that we saw in Chicago, that we saw in Oklahoma City, that we saw for a year last year when he was with us. All that he gets that, and I think that if you want to talk about malpractice, it was malpractice for this management to not sign him in the beginning of the season. So there you go. Okay,
and I want to answer a couple questions. The Queen's Court, thank you, Steph. Appreciate you. She said, how can you give a higher grade to someone who barely contributed over players who did? He said, I'm glad I have people that love me like y'all love Frank.
Wow. You know what, Steph, man. But I do like you. I do love her. I mean, my goodness, man. Come on.
All right. And Demo B, thank you for the super chat. He said, Frank fan here. But if Frank was so good, why was Peyton not only signed but started and played more?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, is Peyton better than Immanuel Quickley? He started over Quickley. Right? I mean, there are certain things that happens with the chemistry of the team and the reasons why you play players at certain times and when you play players. But to answer Steph's question, this is more about looking at the player kind of in a vacuum, not comparing to other players. Right? So for me, I can look at a guy like Frank. Let's say you take a player, let's say we have a developmental chart of players, and this guy, maybe Frank Ntilikina didn't get on the court, but he improved in all areas of his game. The coaching staff might say, you got an A for this season. You didn't play, but you're on the way to playing. You know what I mean? I don't think you can look at a player's grades and compare it to each other because everyone is, people are just different. Like someone would have looked at Julius Randle last year and probably gave him a C or D, maybe a F for a lot of people. Yep. Mm-hmm. Although he was our leading scorer and our leading rebounder. But they might have given him a low score. Although he was our most productive player. And he would have deserved that lower score.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. They would have probably given RJ Barrett a B.
Yeah.
Right? Because he was a rookie. Although Julius Randle was more productive than RJ Barrett. So I think you have to look at it as, that player compared to himself rather than compared to other players on the team. Mm-hmm. I don't think a player's grade tells you how much playing time they're going to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's the overall, Sam? What's the overall?
So when we look at that overall, let me add Taj Gibson's grade in there. We're going to divide that by 13 players. The overall grade for this team is an 82.
Okay.
All right, it's an 82. So that's, somewhere between a B and a B minus. I think because they made the playoffs and they were the 4th seed, let's just give them a B.
I agree.
I think we'll go ahead and we'll give them a B. I think that's a good grade for the team. I think it sounds like a decent grade for the team. Is a B. Let me go ahead and mark that in here. And then we can, do the average for the entire team grade. All right, so right now, if you take an A and an A, so right now when you look at the entire grade so far, for the front office, we have an A.
Mm-hmm.
For the coaching staff, we have an A. Right, so that's 95 plus 95. And then for the players, you have a B. That's 85. Divide that by 3. That gives you a 91.6. That's about an A minus.
Wow, that's cool.
Wow.
Okay.
Right, so that's about an A minus. Let me put that in here, and then we'll see what people think, if they agree, disagree. I've seen on a couple of chat boards where people gave the team about a B plus to an A minus. So I think it sounds like it's about right.
I would agree. I think that there are a lot of
who cares what you say?
Kev, that you came on this out in public. First of all, the fact that you came out in public with that shirt on. Oh my God! I can't.
We didn't forget to get. Yeah, we're getting to that. That's the icing on the cake. We're getting to that.
Don't you? Wait. Don't you got to go to practice?
Yeah, I got to, but we're going to get to your shirt first.
I'm about to be real quick. So I would say I think that's a fair assessment of what we were able to do this season. I think that there are things that, based on the performance of different entities of the team, whether it be from coaching or – so we need an offensive coordinator per se for this team to be able to get these guys that are playing a different way energized in the game.
I wonder who's out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, listen, we that's why we did this so we can we did this so we can finish off the season, close that chapter, and start moving on to the next one. So just so that people understand the scoring, I'm gonna do this one more time really quick for those who are just getting here. If you got an A plus, that's a 99. An A is a 95. An A minus is a 90. And you can see it goes like that from the B to the C to the D to the F range.
Right.
And so when we look at the final grades for the front office, the coaching staff, and the players, the front office got an A. It's 95 points. The coaching staff got an A. That's 95 points. The players collectively got a B. That's 85 points. And when you add those together, divided by 3, you get an overall team grade of an A minus.
It's cool.
So it seems like that's about right, ladies and gentlemen. Now, and Kev, I'm going to ask you to stand up nice and tall to the camera. Nice and tall to the camera, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. That's perfect.
Let's go. Rise up.
Right there.
Rise
okay.
Up.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to give a grade to Cornerstone Cavs shirt. You see it on your screen, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh
I want you to throw it in the chat. What is the grade for Cornerstone Cavs shirt? And so that you understand, you can sit down. You can go ahead and sit down. They can still see your shirt.
Yeah,
to this panel and everybody in the chat, I hate you all. I'm just putting it out there right now.
And so everybody understands one more time. An A plus is a 99. It's 99 points. An A is 95. An A minus is 90. A B plus is 89. A B is 85 points. A B minus is 80 points. A C plus is 79 points. A C is 75 points. A C is 70 points. A D plus is 69 points. A D is 65. So on and so forth. The last one, a F minus is 50 points.
I hate you.
So Sam, I want to make sure I understand, right? So the Lord has scored means that Kev can take that shirt off and do something with it other than wear it on his body.
Y'all are.
And let me see. I see a Z minus. Somebody gave a Z minus. A Z minus.
Somebody said a UGLNY.
I hate you all.
I don't know. It looks like
y'all are going to hell.
Kev,
hell is too
I'm
good
sorry. Kev, I'm sorry
hell
to
is
say.
too beautiful a place for y'all. Hell is too beautiful a place
I'm sorry
for
to say, but it looks
y'all
like
are rotten
Kev.
to the core. You too, Andy. You too. I know you just thinking something too.
If I was gonna say you could run with that shirt with long linens,
Kev.
I hate you all.
Shorts and sandals, and just go to the cookouts. You could probably pull it off.
I have no
somewhere in the south.
qualms saying hate.
Kev, listen, Kev. It looks like the chat gave you an F minus for that shirt.
And that's an
I hate
average.
to say it, but that's an
Sam.
average. They gave you an F minus. That's the lowest we can go.
Sam.
I mean, somebody gave you a Z minus. A Z minus.
Sim, you are dead to me. Sergeant, you are already dead to me.
Listen,
Andy,
listen.
I have no words for you. None. My only brother now is just Jay Boogie. That's it. All of y'all. All of y'all.
He got you that shirt?
If he did, y'all pop off to him and see what happened.
Somebody said, Chevion Productions said an H for hideous.
Hideous.
Cornerstone Kev's shirt gets an F minus, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, God.
It gets an F minus.
Kev,
I hate you all.
Check this out, my brother, because I love you.
I got no words for you.
Listen, because you're my brother from another mother, this is what I'm going to tell you. Before you have to make a decision on what to wear outside of your house,
I hate you all.
Text me, brother. Text me.
Text you. Hell no, I text
let
you.
me give you some advice, because I'm going to tell you right now, there is no way possible in this universe I would have said that was a good idea to wear that shirt. Never, ever would I say that was a good idea.
You... 6 feet under ain't too good for you. They need to put you. You know what they need to put you? They need to put you in Hawaii and put you in that what is it? That pit.
The pit.
The pit. Yeah.
That you cook the pig in.
Yeah, that you cook the pig in. That's it for you.
Take that shirt and put it in the pit.
Wrap you in it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you all. Cornerstone, sorry about the shirt, man. Sorry about the shirt.
You are.
We're out of here, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed and ring that notification bell. Check out the description so you can learn more about the Flagship Resort. That's where our draft party is going to be. And be on the lookout for that registration information. No one's linking you to Clyde. No, he said, you guys can't hear him. He said someone link him to Clyde Frazier. That's not happening. No, I don't know. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you check it out in the description. Be on the lookout for the registration to come out soon. And tomorrow, 5 p.m., the Queen's Court. Be there. We're out of here.
This is NBK. Nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.